China's massive military supply train to Russia exposed. China aids Russia in shadow war against Europe. Brussels unleashed drone shield against Russian oil fleet. Here's the latest, so you'll be in focus. Subscribe and stay tuned. Ukraine's Foreign Intelligence Service has recorded a systematic increase in support from China to Russia since 2023. China has been steadily boosting aid to Russia both by helping to bypass sanctions and by directly supplying the needs of the Russian military. The intelligence service has observed rail shipments from China to Russia that are highly likely intended for military use. In total, about 24,000 tons of such cargo have been delivered from China to Russia. China is also joining Russia's so-called shadow war against Europe, according to Bloomberg. This includes cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns. In addition, Ukraine's Foreign Intelligence Service has recorded instances of China providing Russia with satellite intelligence used to carry out missile strikes on Ukraine. Kristina Dombrovska has the full report.
Chinese ships were involved in damaging cables in the Baltic Sea, writes Bloomberg. On November 17, 2024, an underwater communications cable between Lithuania and Sweden was cut. The next day, the cable connecting Finland and Germany went out of service. According to the Finnish company Cinia, it was severed by an anchor or bottom trawl. In addition, China has intensified cyber espionage, seeking to weaken the unity and influence of the West.
Chinese cyber attacks have become more ambitious and more common. Western officials allege a growing symbiosis between Russian and Chinese disinformation campaigns. Whatever their differences, both China and Russia want a weaker, more pliant Europe, from a publication by Bloomberg.
Another alarming sign, as Bloomberg analysts write, is Beijing's reaction to Europe's calls to pressure Russia to stop its aggression against Ukraine. For example, spokesperson for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Guo Jiakun, accused, as he put it, other countries of igniting Russia's war against Ukraine. In his opinion, Russian aggression began due to regional security contradictions in Europe. Meanwhile, Ukraine's Foreign Intelligence Service has recorded instances of China providing Russia with satellite reconnaissance data for launching missile strikes on Ukraine.
There are facts of high-level interaction between Russia and China in conducting satellite reconnaissance of Ukrainian territory to identify and scout strategic targets for strikes. Moreover, as we have seen in recent months, these targets may belong to foreign investors. Oleg Alexandrov, employee of the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine, in an interview with Ukrinform.
China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs denied this information. However, on October 5th, during a Russian attack, at least 3 Chinese SAR reconnaissance satellites flew over western Ukraine, reported the Militarny portal after analyzing the Heavens Above monitoring service, which tracks satellite movements. Bloomberg analysts noted that China's interference in European affairs is far less aggressive than Putin's. It is Russia's actions that have led to increased tensions and the need for rearmament across the European continent.
Putin's Russia is only getting nastier. The political system has become violent and quasi-fascist. The economy is thoroughly mobilized for war. Putin is forging deeper ties with other U.S. adversaries, like China and North Korea. He believes his country is already locked in an existential conflict with the collective West, from a publication by Bloomberg.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is confident of this. He noted that Putin seeks, I quote, to turn Europe's political order upside down, and added that it is in Germany's interest to defend it. When asked by German journalists whether Putin is waging war against Germany, Friedrich Merz replied, "He is waging a hybrid war against us."
He is waging an information war against us. He is waging war against Ukraine, and this war is against all of us. We will not allow ourselves to be intimidated and will effectively defend ourselves against this threat.
Earlier, Friedrich Merz stated that Russia may be behind the launch of most drones in Europe, including over Germany. He called the number of airspace violations of other European countries unprecedented, even compared to the Cold War period. According to the Chancellor, drone defense falls under the police's competence, which is currently not adequately equipped for this. He also recalled the revision of the airspace security law, which will empower the armed forces to assist the police in shooting down drones, reported by Kristina Dombrovska, UATV News.
The EU has proposed using a drone wall to monitor Russian tankers. This was announced by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen during a plenary session of the European Parliament on October 8th. Specifically, Brussels has suggested creating a protective shield made of radars and missile interceptors. Before that, 7 EU countries, the European Commission and Ukraine held talks on setting up this drone wall. More on this next.
Every square centimeter of our territory must be protected. Something new and dangerous is happening in our skies, declared European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen before members of the European Parliament in Strasbourg. In her speech, she noted that Russia is conducting a deliberate hybrid campaign against Europe. She cited sabotage of critical infrastructure, cyber attacks, election interference, and disinformation as elements of a broader aggression, and called for a review of Europe's defense policy. At the same time, she believes the EU's fundamental mission is to preserve peace.
Russia wants to sow division. We have to answer with unity. It was Italian pilots under NATO's air policing mission that escorted Russian jets from Estonian skies. Ukrainian experts are sharing frontline expertise to help member states counter drone incursions. This is solidarity in action. But we must not only react, we must deter, and Europe must urgently equip itself with a strategic capacity to respond, one that is ready to address the changing nature of warfare.
Ursula von der Leyen mentioned a recent series of incursions into European airspace by unidentified drones, including in Poland, Romania, Estonia, Denmark, Norway, and also in Belgium and Germany. According to von der Leyen, this cannot be a coincidence. It is a gray zone campaign against Europe. The European Commission proposed that member states create a shield of radars and interceptor missiles.
The drone wall will contribute to the Eastern Flank Watch, and it should be designed to address a wide spectrum of challenges, from responding to natural disasters to tackling international organized crime, from monitoring weaponized migration to controlling the Russian shadow fleet, and the list is long.
In Germany, plans are already underway to determine who will counter drones and how. Bavaria was one of the first to act. On October 7th, the government of this federal state approved a draft law to strengthen drone defense. At the federal level, the government is developing amendments to the airspace protection law. The Bundeswehr's powers are expected to be expanded. As explained by German Interior Minister Alexander Dobrindt, the German government is preparing to establish a joint drone defense center, enabling federal states and the government to conduct joint assessments and implement protective measures. Additionally, Germany will soon create a drone defense unit within the federal police.
We are creating the possibility for the federal police to use all appropriate technical means against the drones themselves, for example with electromagnetic pulses, jamming, GPS interference, but also with physical measures. This means that intercepting and shooting down drones will be regulated and possible under federal police authority in future. You know, it's the other way around. We need to call Ukraine and ask them to share their expertise with us. We have already done so, and this is working in exchanges between ministries.
Meanwhile, Kyiv is actively working with partners to prevent Russia from using ships of the so-called shadow fleet for sabotage and other attempts to destabilize Europe, noted Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
We are providing all necessary information to partners and expect that countering Russian interference will be significantly stronger. For now, Russians are using tankers not only to earn money for the war, but also for reconnaissance and even sabotage activities. This can absolutely be stopped. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, on Telegram.
On October 1st, at a summit in Copenhagen, the stance of some EU leaders regarding drone incidents, acts of sabotage, cyber attacks, and sanctions violations noticeably toughened. French President Emmanuel Macron stated that Europe must adopt a more aggressive position toward Russia, shooting down drones that invade European airspace. Reported by Kristina Dombrovska, UATV News.
What's your take on all this? Share your thoughts below. This is UATV. Stay sharp, in focus, and stay safe.